Have you ever seen a new crypto token launch and just go on this insane roller coaster ride? I mean, up one day, down the next. Well, that is exactly what we're going to break down today. We're diving into the wild debut of a new AI token, Perle, or PRL, which gave traders, let's just say, some serious whiplash right from the get-go. All right, so let's set the scene. It's late March 2026. The crypto world is just buzzing, right? And the hot topic is, you guessed it, AI. Anything and everything AI is getting attention. And then this new, super hype token called Perle comes along. It launches, and you can just feel the market holding its breath, waiting to see what happens. And then, boom, March 29th hits, and the price just explodes. We're talking a jump of more than 11% in one day. The hype, it was totally real. The excitement was through the roof. It looked like this thing was on a one-way trip to the moon.
But you know how it goes. What goes up often comes down, and boy did it. The very next day, it's like the rocket just ran out of gas. The price didn't just dip, it absolutely plummeted, dropping more than 13%. That whiplash right there, that's the heart of our story today.
So you gotta ask yourself, what in the world was going on here? Was this just your classic pump and dump hype, a little bit of market manipulation, or were we watching the chaotic birth of something genuinely groundbreaking? Let's dig in and find out.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about that massive surge. To really get a grip on the chaos, we got to look at what was pushing that price up to begin with. So Perle didn't just launch, it launched with what one analyst called the full package. I mean, it wasn't just on one exchange. No, it hit a bunch of top-tier platforms all at once. That just opened the floodgates for fresh capital to pour in. You mix that with the powerful AI story that everyone was excited about, and you've got a recipe for a frenzy. And that huge trading volume, over 124 million bucks, that just confirmed it. This was no small-time pump.
Yeah, this quote from CoinMarketCap's analysis pretty much hits the nail on the head. The surge wasn't some big mystery. It was like a textbook case of what happens when you give tons of investors easy access to something they're already super hyped about. It was the absolute perfect storm for a price explosion.
Okay, so if everything was going so great, why the sudden nosedive? What happened? Let's flip the coin and break down the other side of this story, the anatomy of the dip. What you're looking at here is a classic crypto tug-of-war. It's the ultimate battle between greed and fear. On one side, you've got all those bullish drivers we just talked about, the greed side, pulling the price up. But on the other, you've got this whole new set of pressures, the fear side, just waiting to yank it right back down. And it wasn't just one thing that caused the drop, it was a combination. Another perfect storm, but this time a bearish one. First off, think about it. The token shot up over 64% in a week. So, of course, early buyers started taking profits. I mean, who wouldn't? Then you had the airdrop. The way it was set up meant a bunch of people could sell 20% of their tokens right away, adding even more selling pressure. On top of that, the whole market got weak. Bitcoin dropped, and when Bitcoin sneezes, smaller tokens like PRL catch a cold. And the final nail in the coffin? A pretty low initial supply of tokens. With only 175 million out of a billion circulating, even a few big sell-offs could really rock the boat.
Okay, so we've been talking a ton about the price action, the ups, the downs. But honestly, that's only half the story. Let's get to the real question. What does Perle actually do? Is there any real tech, any real substance behind all this market craziness?
So, get this. Perle is trying to solve a really big and, frankly, kind of scary problem in the AI world. It's called model collapse. Imagine this. AI models start getting trained on data that was made by other AI models. After a while, they just start learning each other's mistakes, and the quality of everything just goes downhill. It's like a digital version of that game Telephone you played as a kid, where the message gets all garbled by the end. For AI, especially the important stuff, that's a massive problem.
So what's Perle's big idea? Well, they're building something they call a sovereign data layer on the Solana blockchain. Basically, it's a system for providing AI with data that is verified by actual humans and can be checked by anyone on the blockchain. So instead of just some random people on the internet labeling data, you have verified doctors checking medical data or real lawyers looking at legal documents. And this project has some serious street cred. It was started by people who used to work at Scale AI, a huge player in the space, and they've already raised $17.5 million.
And if you look at how they've split up the tokens, it tells a pretty interesting story. The biggest piece of the pie, 37.5%, is for the community. But here's the really important part.
The tokens for the team and the early investors, they're locked up for a full 12 months. That's a huge signal that these guys aren't just here for a quick payday. They're in it for the long haul.
So after all that drama, Perle's crazy first week left a lot of people wondering the same thing. Was that 13% crash a giant red flag? Or was it a golden opportunity? And that brings us to a classic crypto strategy, one you hear about all the time: buying the dip. But what does that really mean? And more importantly, how do you do it without getting totally burned?
So at its heart, buying the dip sounds super simple, right? It's just buying something after its price has dropped because you think it's going to go back up. Buy low, sell high. But here's the catch. Just because it sounds simple doesn't mean it's easy. The real trick is knowing when to jump in and, crucially, keeping your emotions out of it.
So this is the million-dollar question every time you see a price drop. Is this just a little pullback, or is the whole trend reversing? Is it a dip, or is it a crash? With a pullback, the price usually finds a solid floor, support level, and the selling starts to die down. But in a reversal, whoa, those floors break, selling volume goes through the roof, and the whole vibe just turns sour. It's the difference between buying something on sale and buying something from a store that's going out of business.
All right, so if you're ever tempted to buy a dip, here are 4 strategies to keep in mind. First, dollar cost averaging, or DCA. Don't throw all your money in at once. Instead, buy in smaller chunks over time. It's way less stressful than trying to perfectly time the bottom. Second, look for those historical support levels, places where the price has bounced back before. Third, and this is a big one, set a budget before you start and stick to it. This stops you from making emotional decisions. And finally, and I can't stress this enough, stay away from leverage. That's when you borrow money to trade. If that dip turns into a dive, you can get wiped out completely.
Okay, so with all that in mind, let's circle back to Perle. What should we be watching for? What are the key signs that will tell us if this project is just a flash in the pan or if it's actually building something that could become a new standard for AI?
Well, from a trading perspective, people are watching a few key things. First, can the price find its footing around that 15-cent mark and hold it as support? Then, can it push past that 20-cent level? That's a big psychological hurdle. And maybe most importantly, can it keep that trading volume high, over $125 million a day? That's what really shows that buyers are still interested and engaged. And all of this leaves us with one last big question to chew on. We're in the middle of this massive AI gold rush, right? And everyone's focused on the shiny new AI models, the gold. But what Perle's story makes you wonder is the AI technology the real gold? Or is it the clean, verified, human-checked data, the thing that powers all of it that's the truly valuable tool? During a gold rush, the people who really got rich were the ones selling the shovels. Something to think about.